Even if he wanted to, he would need other people's help to do it. Samuel knew some people with light element in that world, but they have passed away. The great magic beast tide basically killed everyone whom he knew and buried the entire world along with it. I can, Rhea said with a grin. If I were to disguise myself, can you find me, Samuel? Hearing her playful lightened tone at the end of her sentence, Samuel arched his eyebrows and smiled faintly. I can sense you through your mana signature and your aura. It wouldn't be so easy to hide your breath completely in front of a magic warrior. Little Rhea. Rhea was stunned and then her cheek reddened slightly. How do you know that nickname? Only Amelia would use that nickname from time to time in private. She felt a bit embarrassed to be called Little when she was already an adult, but Amelia insisted, so she could only agree with the other party. The premise was to call it in private. I heard it from Amelia, Samuel admitted frankly. When she calls you, she often calls you out with that name while hopping around the house. Rhea. She could totally imagine Amelia did that. But really, Rhea rubbed her cheek with some embarrassment. Don't use that nickname in public. Then in private? As he spoke, Samuel had leaned closer to Rhea's ear. His breath felt hot on her skin. This posture made Rhea's body stiff and her brain shutting down. She has been single for so many years and didn't have any experience in such a thing. Even though Samuel did tease her a bit when they were traveling together in the crack in the past, he would still keep his distance and never truly did anything too much. After all, the two of them were actually wary of each other in the beginning. Both of them were returnees and have seen too much in that world. A completely different world where resources were placed at the most important place while human lives were treated as worthless things. So many people died just because they have more resources. It was far more lawless. The threat of the magic beasts couldn't stop the fighting of these people who lived at the bottom in the slightest bit. Only the great magic beast tide seemed to have woken them up from the dream of peace that they had. They thought that their biggest enemy was their competitors, but they forgot that there were many magic beasts eyeing them. In the end, none of them survived. You! Bang! Hearing the sound, the two people quickly moved towards the window to check the situation outside. Rhea's eyes narrowed when she saw the flying magic beasts outside. Corpse-eater flying magic beast. Rhea spat out. After seeing so many magic beasts, she never thought that she would see these corpse-eater flying magic beast. These corpse-eater flying magic beast were known for the fact that they liked eating corpses, especially the decayed one. In a way, they were quite similar to the corpse-eating bird that existed in the Green Planet. But those birds were usually found in desert, so not many people know about them. There had to be a pile of corpses nearby. Samuel's expression was not very good. The corpse-eater flying magic beast would only linger around in the areas where there were a lot of corpses. While the existence of corpses were not exactly a bad thing, as the corpse-eater flying magic beast didn't only hunt human corpses but also magic beasts' corpses, but Samuel knew very well that so many corpses were also the sources of bacteria and plagues. Why did the officials agreed right away when Rhea asked for the magic beasts' corpses? Because if they were left behind, they would also be burned down to prevent these magic beasts' corpses from polluting the Green Planet. Even if their effort might not be able to match the death rate of these magic beasts outside, they had to try their best to maintain the environment in the Green Planet for the sake of the future generation's survival. While the result was not very good so far, but at least they tried. But with so many corpse-eater flying magic beasts out there, it was certain that there had to be a large number of corpses nearby. As for whether it was a pile of human corpses or magic beasts' corpses, they had to figure it out by themselves. I'll clean it up, Rhea said as she approached the door and then stopped. Rhea, how to open the hatch? Samuel chuckled and stepped forward. He grabbed the handle and opened it without hesitation while turning to look at the soldiers. Keep the helicopter stable. Yes. Whiz. Series of wind whistling from outside could be sensed and the two people were stunned. These corpse-eater flying magic beast had already reached rank 7. Rhea was surprised and then frowned. For these corpse-eater flying magic beasts to grow so quickly, how many corpses have they eaten? This is not just one rank 7 corpse-eater flying magic beast but a bunch of rank 7 corpse-eater flying magic beast. Then I'll deal with them. Samuel had already taken out his sword as he spoke, and lightning started to gather around his hand and transmitted into the sword. The air was crackling along with the lightning. Lightning sword slash. Boom! The large slash directly headed towards these corpse-eater flying magic beast, but it only managed to kill 3 of them, while the rest were either blocked with the windshield or avoided. These rank 7 corpse-eater flying magic beast were really strong. Ria's expression changed, and she raised her hand and runes formed in it before she slapped it on the side. Get down! Screech! The group of rank 7 corpse-eater flying magic beasts screamed out loudly, starting off sonic attack along with wind elemental attack. Swoosh! The strong wind nearly turned the helicopter upside down. Thanks to the runes that Ria used to stabilize the helicopter, it was not destroyed directly by the corpse-eater flying magic beast. But Ria's expression was not very good as she drew several more runes and slapped them one by one to the window. Reinforcement, stabilizer, and various other simple runes. The corpse-eater flying magic beast were the master of the sky, and upon reaching rank 7, they could use sonic attack and wind element, making it extremely hard to deal with them. The sonic attack was basically transmitting the mana through their voices, attacking their opponent through it. This method was not easy to master for humans, even though some people were really interested to learn it. After all, sonic attack was hard to defend. Both Ria and Samuel felt their ears ringing for a bit. Hold it back. 10 seconds. Got it. Samuel grinned and then took a safety rope and wrapped it around his waist. He actually wanted to use his sword to fly, but this movement consumed too much mana. For a rank 7 magic warrior like him, flying is still a hard thing to do. He had to wait until he reached the peak of rank 7 or to reach rank 8 before he could fly freely on the sky. Otherwise, he could use some flying equipment. Swish! Standing on the edge of the helicopter, Samuel looked at the group of corpse-eater flying magic beast in front of him coldly and yelled, "Die!" Lightning converged once more, carefully avoiding the helicopter behind him, and started to form a net of torrent, attacking these corpse-eater flying magic beast in fierce manner. Swish! Boom! Screech! Various wind attacks were launched by the corpse-eater flying magic beast, heading straight towards the helicopter, threatening to bring it down. Some wind blades hit the helicopter, forming a mark there, but it could not penetrate through the helicopter. At this moment, the helicopter's defense has been strengthened repeatedly through Ria's runes and formation. Otherwise, it would have been destroyed by the rank 7 corpse-eater flying magic beast's attack just now. Samuel saw that these rank 7 corpse-eater flying magic beasts were already trying to attack again, and waved his sword repeatedly, weaving lines of thunder all around the areas but didn't block the driver's route. The soldier could feel his hand trembling when he saw the scenes in front of him, but he didn't dare to let go of his hand from the steer, because he was absolutely sure that if he dared to let it go, Samuel and Ria will not have time to save him. Damn it! How did a normal transport mission ended up with battle against rank 7 corpse-eater flying magic beasts? The soldier was already sweating like crazy. Swish! Swish! Boom! Screech! These rank 7 corpse-eater flying magic beasts were angry after being attacked by Samuel repeatedly. They rushed forward. Wind billowing and countless invisible wind blades were rushing forward. The mana fluctuation alone was more than enough to cause storm here. Samuel saw these rank 7 corpse-eater flying magic beasts' movement and his eyes narrowed. Ria! They're about to form tornadoes. A group of rank 7 flying magic beasts were capable of creating natural disasters. This was something that everyone knew. Even other profession were able to create a large-scale attack like this lightning net that Samuel made. So the magic beasts were naturally also strengthened considerably when they reached rank 7. Of them was the fact that they could use magic more proficiently and the fact that they could cooperate well with each other. Just thinking about the bitter battle that awaited them, Samuel's expression was not very good. If they were on the ground, he could do something to stop these rank 7 corpse-eater flying magic beast. But they were in the air. BRTT. The sword buzzed and Samuel arched his eyebrows before the corner of his lips curled up slightly. There were only a few seconds left and he could see that Ria was already forming protective rune circle behind him. There was no time to waste and he jumped off the helicopter without hesitation. Mr. Samuel. The soldier was horrified, but he could only control the helicopter and tried to make it remain stable. Otherwise, he and Rhea would die. O Lord of the Thunder, storm of natural disaster, fast and thunderous, descent into the world, lighting storm field. Boom! Lightning strike down from the sky, hitting the rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beast in front of Samuel as he pointed his sword forward. The sky darkened and lightning descended one after another, hitting these rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beast in a matter of seconds. Everything happened so fast. People from other areas nearby could see the sky darkened and they saw the rain of lightning in the distances. In an instant, this matter was put on trending. Many people watched this, wondering what happened or what kind of natural disaster happened here. Boom! Samuel saw that he was around 100 meters away from the ground swiftly changed to wind element, slowing down his descent and stopping him to fall to his death. His safety rope has long been cut off. BRRT. Samuel could sense the sword's excitement and he chuckled. Sorry. My mana is already running out from that move. Samuel looked at the corpses of rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beast around him and smiled. The rest is hers. Screech! The remaining rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beast were angry when they saw many of their companions fell down under Samuel's intense lightning storm barrage not long ago. Some of them rushed down, but Samuel swiftly used his sword to attack them. Bang! Seeing his normal attack was blocked, Samuel didn't look surprised. If these rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beast were so easy to kill, they would not have caused so much trouble before. Swish! Samuel saw the helicopter swayed and frowned. Did he jump down too early? Boom! Lightning converged once more and Samuel was prepared to attack those rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beast. If Rhea is not ready yet, then he had to fight back and buy her more time. The two of them have cooperated so many times and Samuel often bought Rhea some time for her to use her move. In a way, Samuel was more like a warrior when he was partnering with Rhea. Swish! At this moment, Rhea had jumped out of the helicopter and she was suspended in the air. Seeing this scene, Samuel arched his eyebrows and laughed lightly. She'll definitely surprise other returnees when they saw this scene. Most rank 7 wouldn't be able to fly right away because of various restrictions. Even though Magician could learn flying magic spell and Magic Warrior could also learn some kind of spells related to flying, they usually needed time and accumulation of mana before they could use it. But Rhea did it. Whether it was because she was the first one to advance to rank 7 or because she was naturally talented, many people will definitely envy Rhea in the future. Miss Rhea! The soldier was stunned and shouted once again. He felt that he was about to have heart attack twice today just from the performance of Samuel and Rhea. These two people were important returnees in the eyes of the people in Continent Z. Even the higher-ups have high expectation from these two people, which was why they were given a lot of privilege and was allowed to use helicopter to complete their mission. Their abilities had long far surpassed many other people. It was only through their capabilities that many problem could be solved directly, which was why the higher-up appreciated the two of them. Moreover, both Rhea and Samuel were people who were still willing to obey the officials' arrangement and didn't make trouble. If every returnees were like them, they would not feel anything. But after hearing what the other returnees did in Continent Y and Continent X, it could be said that the officials were grateful that their returnees were not like that. They truly couldn't imagine what they would feel if their returnees were such white-eyed wolves. People were not afraid that they didn't live well but afraid of comparison. With such comparison in other continents, the officials were already extremely grateful with Samuel and Rhea. So in a way, they also treasured these two people more. Before the soldier came to pick Rhea up and brought her to the border, he had been warned repeatedly that Rhea's safety is the top priority. They could afford losing a lot of soldiers, but they couldn't afford losing Rhea. If Rhea were to know what they were thinking, she will definitely scold them. Because what they treasured is her runes instead of herself. Don't worry about me, Rhea yelled and looked at these rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts in front of her with some excitement. The rank 7 magic beasts that she faced before have been weakened to a certain degree because of the person or whoever who made the world fusion and mana integration formation. But these rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts were different. They should have advanced to rank 7 after a period of time on the green planet, thus giving them a lot of strength, allowing them to advance to rank 7. They were much stronger than those rank 7 magic beasts. Get away as far as possible. Rhea saw these rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts were coming and swiftly raised her hand, drawing runes as she jumped to the back, controlling the operation of the protective rune circle around her. Yes, her protective rune circle was capable of bringing her flying around, and it was also controllable. After advancing to rank 7, one of the most prominent features of all professions except warriors were the fact that they could fly. The warriors had to advance to rank 8 first before their auras were enough to support them flying, but they could already glide from a certain height depending on their strength. For Rhea, flying meant using flying runes. The problem is, the flying runes consumed a lot of mana, and drawing it with such limited mana was also a problem. She had to wait until she reached rank 7 before she could incorporate it into her protective rune circle. After that, where she wanted to go, she only needed to arrange the direction. Unfortunately, I only have 2 hands. Sometimes, Rhea felt a bit of pity that she only has 2 hands. When she was controlling the protective rune circles to fly around, she had to use her left hand to maneuver it, while her right hand was drawing other runes. This required extreme dual handling. Otherwise, she wouldn't be able to use her runes perfectly. Swish! Swish! These rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts started to attack Rhea from a distance, trying their best to maintain their distance and didn't come any closer. Clever, Rhea muttered. But she didn't relax and continued to draw runes after runes. Bang! 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 Screech! The battle in the air was fierce and fast. Samuel could see Rhea was fighting at rapid speed against these rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts as they fell to the ground one by one as corpses. Either their heart would be punctured by some kind of magic arrows or their neck was cut off. It seemed that Rhea was using the earth and metal elements the most. BRRT. The sword vibrated, seemingly asking Samuel to participate in the battle. It hadn't had enough drinking these rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts' blood and wanted more. Samuel tapped his sword. This is Rhea's battle. We're not allowed to participate. BRRT. The sword is protesting. There were more than enough rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beast for them to join in. Swish! Bang! More explosion happened, and Samuel saw that these rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts suddenly changed their direction. His expression changed. Rhea! Even before Samuel warned her, Rhea had already seen these rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts' plan. She gritted her teeth and swiftly infused more mana into her protective rune circle. These rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts were really smart. Swish! Bang! Layer of earth element blocked these rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts, making them crash midair. The next moment, the large wall tilted and fell in their direction. Screech! These rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts were half crushed, and some of them escaped in time. Some others were trapped and couldn't fight it back as the wall promptly crushed them down to the ground. Rhea's expression was cold as she stood in front of these rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts, and the moment they got close to her protective rune circle, they were counterattacked with various runes and formation that she had arranged. Lightning, fire, metal elements, and various other attacks shredded several rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts that didn't manage to escape. The rest of the rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts moved away rapidly when they saw their companion's fate. Screech! These rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts were angry, but they didn't dare to get closer to Rhea. I know you're smarter than those rank 7 magic beasts from before, but if you think that you can make me lose the battle with only this, then you're wrong. Rhea sneered and took out a mana stone from her space and crushed it in her hand. This basically replenished her mana that she had used when she was fighting against these rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts. Forming this special protective rune circle at rank 7 consumed around 1/3 of her mana. After all, if she wants to be able to fly, the amount of mana that she needed increased exponentially. The good thing is that the protective rune circle would still be able to operate on its own as it was absorbing mana from the outside. But the time was limited. When she was besieged by countless rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts, Rhea knew that the protective rune circle wouldn't last long either. Miss Rhea! The soldier in the helicopter felt fear and swiftly tried to stay far away from the battlefield. He saw that these rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts were trying to get close to him. Even though the helicopter has been modified after the world changed and has been strengthened by Rhea, it was definitely not a match against this group of rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beast. The soldier couldn't understand why these rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts were so smart. Even when he was accompanying Rhea to fight against rank 7 magic beasts before, those magic beasts didn't seem to be so smart. These rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts seemed to understand that Rhea would not let them hurt the person in the helicopter. I have to go faster. The soldier didn't want to be Rhea's burden. The modified helicopter could go very quickly. While it was still not a match against the rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beast's speed, but it was far faster than ordinary helicopter the past. Get out of here, Rhea said coldly to these rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts in front of her. She could see that there were still hundreds of rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts around. Even though it was not impossible for her to kill all of these rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts, but it was not worthwhile. Rhea estimated that there were more rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts in their nest. They had to find it, and if possible, destroy it. When these rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts become so strong that it was hard to deal with, they would have to face a grand magic beasts tide with rank 7 magic beasts as the main attacker. With these rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts attacking from the sky, how many bases would be able to handle it? Rhea didn't know, but she could see that the situation was not very optimistic. Screech! These rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts swiftly attacked Rhea once again, and Rhea sneered, drawing the runes with both hands. Since she has to stand here to protect the helicopter behind her, then let the protective rune circle deal with the damage this time. This was not very cost-effective, but she wanted to deal with the rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts as soon as possible. Brilliant frozen strike. Ice formed around Rhea, spanning a kilometers wide. Screech! These rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts felt the danger, and some of them wanted to escape. But it was too late. Swish! Swiss! Swish! Just like Samuel's previous lightning storm field, the brilliant frozen strike done at rank 7 was more than enough to wipe dozens of rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts in an instant. Their bodies were pierced into a sieve and fell down one by one like a broken kite. Screech! More than 300 rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts came to attack, but less than 50 were able to escape. These rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts understood that the human in front of them was not an opponent they could face, so they turned around and flee back to where they came from. Swish! 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 Rhea looked at these rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts in the distance and heaved a sigh of relief as she controlled the protective rune circle to bring her down. Rhea! Are you all right? Samuel saw Rhea's last move of exchanging injuries for injuries and panicked for a moment. Even though he knew that the protective rune circle is strong, but what if? If these rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts were too strong, they could still break Rhea's protective rune circle. I'm fine, Rhea quickly said before Samuel could lift her up. Even if there were no one else here, she didn't want to be treated like a child in public, all right? The last move. Don't worry. I have already estimated the strength of these rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts attack, and they couldn't break through my defense. But the mana is almost running out, Rhea replied as she poked at the protective rune circle around her. Since she used that large-scale magic spell, or well, it was more appropriate to call it formation, her mana was almost completely used up. Even using the mana stone didn't help her much. Runemaster is a profession that consumed a lot of money and mana. Thinking about it, Rhea felt a bit depressed. She really had to work so hard just to advance in her profession, and nothing seemed to be able to change it. That's good. But please don't try to take risk like that again in the future. Samuel gritted his teeth as he looked at Rhea with some annoyance. Stretching his hand, he rubbed Rhea's head and messed up her hair. The battle didn't do much damage to Rhea's long hair as it was still relatively neat, but Samuel's action basically destroyed it completely. Samuel, don't mess around with my hair. Then you should pay more attention when you fight next time. Next time. Next time. You're saying that without any plan to do it. The two of them bickered around, and the soldier had already controlled the helicopter to turn around when he saw that these rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts were flying away. Seeing Samuel and Rhea were still very energetic, the soldier heaved a sigh of relief. It was just, he didn't really want to eat this dog food. The sound of the helicopter getting closer stopped Samuel and Rhea from messing around. I want to recover my mana and let the officials trace back those rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts. Rhea stretched her hand. Let's deal with their nest. I think letting these rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts alive is not a bad thing. They will consume the corpses on the ground, basically act as cleaner. Samuel said his opinion. Even in that world, they would not eliminate all rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts. The main reason is because these rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts usually liked corpses more than living magic beasts. Only when their population reached a certain point would they start hunting for living magic beasts. Just like now. There were so many rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts gathering around, and these magic beasts had the confidence to attack some relatively weaker magic beasts to be their food. I know that they're useful, but it's better for their number to remain small. These rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts reproduced so quickly. Rhea replied with gloom in her tone. Just thinking about what these rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts could do. Rhea felt really annoyed. She didn't want so many rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts to appear and made trouble. I'll let the higher-ups check them out, Samuel said and took out his phone. It seemed that he had to let his father work overnight to figure out these rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts movement. Okay. Rhea smiled happily. In this world, her connection was definitely not as good as Samuel, so she better let him be the one to call and figure out some things. Besides, communication was not exactly her forte, and it would be better to let Samuel be the one to handle it. Sending a message to his father, Samuel nodded at Rhea. They have already arranged for the satellite to follow these rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts movement. With Samuel's request, Mr. Jones directly asked the military and the higher-ups for this matter. They directly agreed and let the satellite work directly to monitor the rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts movement. To be honest, the appearance of these rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts still surprised the higher-ups a bit. But considering how long the first earthquake had happened, it didn't seem to be that surprising that there were rank 7 magic beasts roaming around on the green planet. Not a surprise, my *SS. After hearing this report, the higher-ups immediately arranged for a meeting overnight, trying to scan all the magic beasts on the entire continent Z. They wanted to find out if there were other rank 7 magic beasts that they have missed out, thus failing to detect. If there were any, they had to make remedy as soon as possible so that they would not have any troubles in the future. As for continent-wise request for help, sorry, they were busy. The potential of more rank 7 magic beasts tide appearing in the near future was more than enough for them to panic. Just these rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts were enough to make them more alert and all. But Rhea and Samuel didn't know about these things at all. They wanted to take these rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts corpses first and deal with it. Unfortunately, these rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts meat couldn't be eaten. Rhea sighed. They might have eaten humans, so it's better not to eat it, Samuel reminded. Rhea nodded. Thinking about it, these rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts were one of the few magic beasts that had no qualms about what they ate. Any kind of creatures could be eaten as long as they started off as corpses. Well, it was also because of this that these rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts were hard to eliminate and also left alone to a certain degree in that world. But their blood is the best for making some specific formation and also to make refined weapons, Rhea said with a grin. This was one of the reasons why she wanted to hunt down these rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts. There were 2 professions that could use their blood, the Runemaster and the weapon refiner. Then we'll collect a lot, Samuel said without hesitation. They had already gathered these rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts corpses that they killed. Thankfully, Samuel didn't use fire element when dealing with these rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beast, or there might not even be any corpses left. So Rhea took these rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts corpses back to her world, and let her jade dolls drain their blood as soon as possible. Since she has already made these jade dolls to help her work, why should she work on her own? She should recover her mana as soon as possible. Samuel saw that Rhea had fallen into meditation and also stopped talking. He had used up a lot of mana in that battle, so it would be a good idea to meditate and recover his mana too. It was just, he felt that they were simply asking for more work when they were already given a lot of job to do. These rank 7 corpse eater flying magic beasts really came at the wrong time. Continent Y, Soul Magician Ami's side. Ami the Soul Magician meditated for a long time in the place where there were many magic beasts died. Magic beasts from all kind of ranks died in this place, turning it into a burial place. Not only magic beasts, there were also many humans who died. After a magician and magic warrior's death, the mana in their bodies would slowly dissipate and the environment where they died would be filled with cold mana that was very suitable of Soul Magician. So Soul Magician usually liked places with a lot of death. And not only after humans' death, even after magic beasts died, their mana would also dissipate, and it was the type that Soul Magician liked. Ami has been waiting for this for a long time and prefer the mana that dissipated after humans' death compared to magic beasts. After all, humans' mana were gentler. In the past year, there were many magic beasts that came out of the crack and had faced humans. However, there hasn't been a large-scale death after the first earthquake. The second earthquake brought out the rank 7 magic beasts, which were too strong for most of them. Because of this, many bases were destroyed. Ami has been moving from one place to another, gathering the cold yet delicious mana greedily. With so many bases destroyed in Continent Y, this was simply the best breeding ground for a soul magician like her. It was very comfortable. MHM. Finally reaching rank 7. Seeing the large number of magic beasts' corpses in the distance, Ami sighed. After advancing to rank 7, it wouldn't be so easy for her to absorb the cold mana anymore because she needed much more than before. This little bit was far from enough. These magic beasts were too low in ranks and most humans couldn't even reach rank 3 and was still hovering at the bottom. The mana that dissipated after their death was so little that Ami was depressed. She purposely waited in the soul form, because Soul Magician's physical form was extremely weak and could easily die. So she simply designed her own death and made a drama that those people liked. As long as no one come chasing after her, she's good. Naturally, Ami would not let other returnees use her body, so she hid it far away, ready to be used again once her soul form's transformation was over and it was time for her to return. The other returnees all have different profession. Who knew if any of them were also a pervert who would take advantage of other people's corpses? She refused to let her corpses be used. Continent Y is still quite powerful. Ami looked at the distance where nuclear weapon has been issued and the corner of her lips curled up slightly. Soul magicians were a special type of magicians who will not follow the conventional path of magician nor warrior. They were still called magician because they needed to meditate like normal magician, but most of the time, these soul magician would like to collect the dead people's soul. Of course, the saying of the soul was nonsense. As a soul magician, Ami has the most say about this. What she liked was the mana that dissipated after other magicians died because it was the most delicious and pure, very suitable for her practice and growth. With the mana gathered from them, Ami was able to advance to rank 7. But this is not enough. I have to train now that I have reached rank 7. Ami sighed. Since she was basically hibernating during this period of time and was busy strengthening her own soul, Ami knew very well that the rapid improvement brought by the death of so many people at this time made her strength skyrocketed. But at the same time, she lacked control and means to protect herself. Time to hide again. Ami stretched her hand and then smiled faintly. The main reason why Soul Magician was called as such was because their means of attack and defense were completely focused on their soul. Thus, many people had no defense when facing a soul magician. Any physical defenses are useless against her, and only a true powerful soul would be able to resist. As for soul treasures, with the green planet's condition, how could it be possible for them to produce even a single one? Ami swiftly moved to her hiding place. There were still a lot of death people, but most of them were ordinary people, which were worthless for her. The real powerful ones have long been killed, and their dissipated mana was absorbed into Ami's body. Well, there might be other powerful magicians and magic warriors, but Ami has no time to care for them. She only roamed around the areas where the three cracks were located and took advantage of the situation. As for helping, what a joke. She has been dead for such a long time and stayed in hibernation in order to prevent herself from being too tired after working a lot. Collection the cold mana was not easy because she had to go on the scene right after a person's death. And if the person who died was only at rank 1, Ami felt that she would be wasting her time. Her body was still ethereal and people couldn't see her figure clearly. Even after advancing to rank 7, this matter didn't seem to change in the slightest bit, and it was hard for other people to see her. Of course, other rank 7 magicians, magic warriors, and even warriors could sense her. The mana fluctuation was too obvious. Her body was basically consisted of mana, and it was only through some secret methods that she managed to preserve her soul. There's no way any returnee could be so selfless, Ami muttered under her breath as she looked at the destroyed bases all around her. Devastation was basically everywhere, and Ami had gotten used to it. After the first earthquake, she was only able to live better because of the agreement with the higher-ups. But every single day, she would have to fight against countless magic beasts. These magic beasts didn't care whether they were strong or weak, delicious or not, as they only cared whether they could eat them. It was truly annoying. There were so many magic beasts that Ami felt like vomiting whenever she thought about it. If it was not because she had to keep her image, she would have long severed the relationship with the officials from the very beginning. But she didn't want to let go of the comfortable life. Until the magic beast's tide came over, reminding her of the painful past in that world where the magic beasts came rushing over to her. A soul magician should be able to survive. But she was wrong. When these magic beasts reached rank 7 or above, they could sense the soul that was floating. Some magic beasts, such as the ghost-transformed beast, could even attack one's soul directly, thus killing her. In that world, she didn't manage to stay in the state of soul for long before she was completely killed. It was really miserable. So in this world, Ami decided to leave and hide first, collecting the cold mana bit by bit in secret and become stronger before any rank 7 magic beasts could appear. As long as she could reach rank 7 and manage to rebuild her body, she will be unmatched. The message said that the advanced passage could be opened, but who would want to leave this place and explore such a dangerous world? Ami's eyes flashed with a hint of coldness. When she received the message after advancing to rank 7, she knew very well that it would be impossible for her to stay in this world for a long time. Because of that damn passage. Whoever made the world fusion and mana integration formation had already anticipated that these returnees might not be willing to fight. But if they didn't want to fight, they might not even have the chance to live. The coming of those magic beasts were basically certain. The message was not long, but it was enough to let Ami know that the green planet will be destroyed in the future. And the returnees were basically the few people who were selected in order to help the green planet. Helping? Ami sneered and swiftly disappeared, ready to train. She will not come out until it was time for those people or magic beasts to come onto the green planet. It's better to care for her own life and death than to care about other people. Swish! Ami couldn't be found on the surface of the green planet anymore. Even though the officials were trying to find her through following the large pattern that formed in the sky after her advancement to rank 7, they were still incapable of chasing after her. The technology that had been upgraded was still unable to fully detect mana's movement. Even if they wanted to try following Ami and figure out her location, they couldn't do it. She was just like a ghost, appearing and disappearing in an instant. Within a certain place. It was dark. There was only faint light in this dim cave with countless runes extending to the walls, and a person was sitting at the center of the formation. He had long silver hair and has been closing his eyes in meditation. Even after several people had already advanced to rank 7, he still didn't change his posture and remained motionless. Their movements couldn't disturb him. The messages that entered various returnees' mind naturally came from here. And the moment Ami reached rank 7, The man opened his eyes and looked at the distance. 6. It was already half of the 12 people whom he sent to that world in order to gain experience. Each and every single one of these people were the people who could walk the longest on their respective extreme paths, but their personality was really worrying. And with him disturbing their original fates, they were basically rewriting their own path in life. But it's still not the time to meet. Temper yourself, for the next trial would not be easy. The figure closed his eyes once more and tranquility descended on this place. Even though the outside world was still filled with chaos because of the magic beasts, none of those could affect him. Continent Y. With Naylan and Navi abandoning the bases, no one could protect these bases from the attack of the magic beasts tide anymore. Countless magic beasts poured out, and even though these returnees were trying to stay as far away from the crack as possible, countless magic beasts still came out of the crack. They drowned up various bases and destroyed many people's homes. Curses could be found in various internet forums. Many people were blaming Naylan and Navi because of their incompetence and their inability to deal with these magic beasts, causing so many people's death. It seemed as if everything was their responsibility. As Navi was resting, she looked at the internet and there was a mocking expressions on her face. Right now, she was guarding her cousin, Naylan, who was resting and meditating. They had to keep running away because these magic beasts seemed to have put a locator on them. No matter where they ran to, countless magic beasts would swarm over and followed them without hesitation. This made Navi so depressed that she wanted to curse. Her mana amount was still lacking and their professions were basically closer to a defender and an attacker. There were no support and the foolish soul magician had already died a long time ago. Oh, wrong. She sensed the mana and seeing the pattern that appeared in the sky, Navi's expressions turned for the worse. Naylan! So many people had already advanced to rank 7. If we don't hurry up, we will be left behind far away by these people. Navi really felt the urgency when she saw that so many people had already advanced to rank 7. If they didn't hurry up, it seemed that they would be lagging far behind from others. I know. Naylan opened his eyes and looked at the distance. At this moment, he understood why Ami didn't want to serve the officials in Continent Y and instead faked her own death. Because it was really useless. No matter how much they worked for the officials, they couldn't really give them the benefits that they truly wanted. Because these officials were weak and their ability to gather resources were far weaker than them. But a little meat is still meat. They could only endure while gathering their own resources through killing so many magic beasts in the past year. It was so tiring that Navi had long wanted to go on a strike. But she didn't dare. The officials still held so much power in Continent Y, and if they wanted to develop in this continent, they could only pinch their nose and endured the treatment given to them. This magic beast's tide could be said to be the perfect chance for them. Since the officials were too busy to take care of them, the two of them could easily escape from their supervision and avoided doing the work that the officials arranged for them. And if they still needed the officials later, they could quibble and try to make sure that the officials would be willing to trust them again. With their abilities, they were confident that the officials couldn't afford to truly abandon them. So they were unscrupulous in their action. It was just, their action of abandoning their post had already caused many bases to be lost and many people dying because of them. There were so many people who died because they didn't dare to fight the magic beasts and chose to abandon them. For both Navi and Naylan, they had already done their best. It was impossible for them to stay on the base walls and fought against those magic beasts to their death. They were not so selfless. If they were so generous and kind, they would have died several times over when they were in the other world. TSK, Ami is doing much better than us. If I know about this, I would have long faked my own death too. Navi grumbled when she looked at the pattern in the sky. She was envious. Ami didn't have to deal with those annoying officials, and even though she has been hiding away, she could easily reach rank 7. The two of them had been working like a dog for the officials, yet they were still unable to reach rank 7. I'll reach rank 7 soon enough, Naylan said with a frown. Is this place not good enough? Navi asked back. They were looking for a place that suited Naylan to let him advance to rank 7, but even until now, Naylan was still dissatisfied with the location and refused to advance to rank 7. Navi couldn't do anything about it. After all, it would indeed take some time for Nalan to advance to rank 7, and if his location was not safe enough, it would be dangerous for both of them. Navi might not be able to protect Nalan completely on her own. "You're really picky," Navi grumbled again and stood up. "There are not many safe places around here, and these magic beasts will never give up until they can reach us. I don't have any means to create formation or anything like that to protect you. They have already heard the famous Runemaster from Continent Z. Even though Continent Z did a good job in protecting the person's identity, her deeds still spread far and wide. After all, various products in Continent Z had long become the source of envy for other continents. They also wanted to use those things, but Continent Z often refused on the basis that it was not enough for their own internal use. And Runemaster is simply the best support. The formation that she created could easily protect her when she advanced to rank 7. It was also because of this that Rhea managed to advance to rank 7 and thus became the first person in the entire Green Planet to advance to rank 7. She was basically the target of envy for many people all over the world. Unfortunately, the Runemaster was very low-key and refused to show her face in public. Even when she did, the picture would be blurry and all they could see was the figure wrapped in magic robe with long hair. The two of them were sure that if this Runemaster dared to show off in public, there would be many people who would go and try to poach her. After all, the Runemaster was a very powerful support. At least that was what most people thought. "I don't dare to ask for her help." Nalan shook his head. They were not close to other returnees and had no intention of trying to ask for help. Because every returnees had already experienced that cruel magic world where strength reigns. If they didn't want to die, they would have to follow through the rules and used various means to survive. Most of them were not easy to deal with. No stupid person would be selected to go to that magic world and then sent back to the Green Planet and face the fierce attack from the magic beasts. For them to be able to survive for years meant they have some capabilities. And Nalan was not going to put his life and death in the hand of someone whom he didn't know. "I don't dare either. Where do you want to go now? The officials will definitely not be willing to help us," Navi asked while playing with some magic cores. She has gathered quite a lot of magic cores from killing the magic beasts that chased after them. While the rank of these magic cores were not very high, she could still use them after some processing. This was one of the advantage of having a lot of elements. She could use various processes that many other people would find troublesome and dealt with. One of them was the process of purification of these magic cores. But it would still consume a lot of her mana, so Navi was usually lazy to do it. If it was not because meditating every day would only give her slow progress, she would not be willing to purify these magic cores. "Do you still want to go back and curry favor with those officials?" Nalan asked back. His voice was cold. He didn't want to go back and associate himself with those officials anymore. Even though they painted off a good pie for him and Navi, the two of them knew that it was simply impossible for the officials to fulfill their words. Those were nothing more than lies. The lies that could never be realized. They have had enough with those people. "No." Looking at the forum where many people were cursing them, Navi pursed her lips and sneered. "With so many righteous people trying to kidnap us morally, why should I bother trying to help them? They should try their best to save their lives instead. In the past year, how many magic beasts have Nalan and Navi killed together and eliminated? The number was large, and the officials helped them to process these magic beasts. They did take some magic cores and some of these magic beasts' corpses as reward, but Nalan and Navi also knew that they had to pay to get something done, so they didn't have much to say. Anyway, it was still beneficial to them in the end. But these people seemed to take it for granted that all returnees have to protect them. What a joke. I don't work hard just to be used by these people as their shield when things are going badly. Navi put away her phone, not wanting to see more of those curses and so on. I've never been a soldier and I don't have the obligation to help these people. The funny thing is, none of the returnees were soldiers. Even though some of them did affiliate themselves with the officials or some other righteous organization, most of them were ordinary people who had no connection with these things before. Nalan and Navi were not exception. One of them was the young miss of a powerful business family, while the other one was her cousin whose living condition was more ordinary. The two of them originally didn't have much interaction with each other before they went to that world and experienced many things together. After all, being close with a familiar person made it easier for them to work together. Even though they couldn't say that they liked this nominal cousin, the two of them still managed to get along well. As long as they could get resources, they were willing to cooperate. Moreover, the paths they took were completely different and there was no chance of clashing against each other. This made their cooperation even more smooth as there was no clash of resources. What Nalan and Navi needed were different from each other. Good. And here I thought that you suddenly want to be a good person, Nalan said in joking tone. Seeing the pile of corpses in the distance, the two of them didn't even change their expression and continued to move away. There were many magic beasts chasing after them, and they had only managed to recover a bit of their mana and strength. If these magic beasts were so persistent and caught them, then they would have to fight for a long time before they could release themselves. It would not be so easy, and neither one of them were willing to fight. It would only be a waste of time. No way. Navi scrunched her face. When did you see me being so kind? If it's not because I have to take care of my image, I would have never even participated in those charity events. For Navi, those things were a waste of time. But her family back then wanted her to participate in various matters, which made her have to swallow her curses and went honestly. After the world changed, Navi and Nalan still took care of their families to a certain degree. But they refused to be controlled by them. 4 years in that world had already changed them to be completely different. They no longer needed family affection as much as they used to be when they hadn't had such long experience. Yes, life is difficult, but it was also much more comfortable. Without anyone restraining them and forcing them to behave in a way that was beneficial for the family, the two of them experienced freedom. They could do whatever they wanted and carve their own future, far away from their hypocritical family members. For both Nalan and Navi, their experience over the years was actually pretty good. In that world, the two of them were still cousins and they worked together in the magic families to get more resources and become the geniuses that many people envied. One walked in the path of magic warrior and the other walked in the path of elemental magicians. After they reached rank 7, the two of them almost never met each other. Who would have thought that they would have to face grand magic beasts tide that basically destroyed the entire world? Thankfully, they didn't die but ended up being sent to this world. This place is pretty good. Can you hold on for an hour? Nalan asked after he found a relatively suitable place for him to advance to rank 7. Sure. Navi didn't care and waved her hand. Good. With that, Nalan prepared enough barrier in the building while Navi waited outside. The two of them knew that they would never get too close to the other party during the advancement period because it would be dangerous. They didn't trust the other party that much. Even though the two of them were cousins, they would still keep a certain distance from each other, especially when it concerned the matter that would affect their entire future. It's really troublesome. Navi leaned against the door and then took out a few magic cores to start purifying them. The mana contained within these magic cores couldn't be absorbed directly by humans because of the violent nature. If they tried to absorb it forcefully, what awaited them would be their own deaths. Navi was processing them bit by bit to make sure that the mana contained inside could be absorbed. This process took time, and since she was only waiting for Nalan to finish advancing to rank 7, she had more than enough time. It's really boring. After the two of them came back, they didn't know each other were still alive at the beginning. After all, they lived quite far away and their family's connection was actually quite far from each other. Navi talked with her family and was almost angered to death by them. These people didn't trust her and only thought that she was making trouble in the beginning when Navi said that she wanted to collect training materials. She was so angry. But at the same time, Navi had better understanding of her status in the family. As long as she's still useful, her family would be willing to pamper her and listen to her nonsense. But when she had no value for the family, they would throw her away without hesitation. What a hypocritical family. Navi didn't even know how she managed to survive for such a long time in this kind of family. Especially after experiencing the large degree of freedom in the other world, Navi felt even more annoyed when she looked at her family members and wished that she could deal with them. She hated them. Thankfully, She could still stay further away with some excuses, and when the world truly changed, Navi sneered when she saw her family members coming to her. They were so righteous when they rebuked her because they felt that she was only making troubles and only came to her because of the benefits that she could offer them. But so what? Since the world had just started to change and many places were destroyed in the earthquake, Navi decided to send her family members to collect resources and handed them over to the officials. As long as they behave well, Navi was sure that the officials would be happy to take care of them, because they were seen as the leash that could control Navi. But Navi herself only felt that it was such a joke. No matter how much her family pampered her in the past, it was nothing more than based on the premise that she was useful to them. Once she had no value whatsoever, they would never even pay attention to her. And in the previous Magic Beasts Tide, the officials basically used these people to give her order. Navi saw these people begged for her to follow the officials' arrangement and all. Seeing their expression, Navi only wanted to say, F*** off. But in the end, she didn't. The officials promised her that the magic beasts that she killed could be given to her. So Navi held back and worked patiently. She obtained a large amount of magic beasts' meat and magic cores. But she was also tired. Bang! Navi narrowed her eyes and looked outside. There were a lot of rank 7 magic beasts rushing over along with other magic beasts of other ranks. Damn it! The mana fluctuation from Naelin's advancement made these rank 7 magic beasts even more agitated. They seemed to know that if Naelin managed to reach rank 7, they would die. Fire and wind blockage. Navi didn't hesitate and swiftly used her magic, creating barrier of fire around the building. Roar. Seeing that these rank 7 magic beasts were unscathed, Navi's eyes flashed with ruthlessness and used the combination of fire and wind element to create large-scale fire around the areas. Roar. Many magic beasts died instantly, turning into ashes, leaving nothing but magic cores on the ground. Bang! Seeing the door was broken into, Navi's expression changed. Naelin, you better be here soon. Bang! 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 Series of magic spells were thrown away without caring for the mana consumption. Navi is a powerful 5 elemental magician. She has much more mana compared to many other magicians due to her elements. But at the same time, she also spent more time to practice various magic spells of these elements. The best method for 5 elemental magicians was to use combination magic spell. The more elements that a combination magic spells used, the more powerful it could be. Naturally, it was not that simple, and there were also some rules that they have to follow. But Navi is a natural genius in this field. Mud trap. The earth turned into mud and countless magic beasts were trapped inside. They couldn't step forward and was drowned, especially those with smaller sizes. Navi's expression remained cold as she continued to use her elements. Fire-tempered steel and earth walls. Swoosh. The originally broken walls had long been demolished, but now Navi simply built more walls and protected the inside of the building very well. The walls were much stronger than before, preventing these magic beasts from getting closer. Bang! Roar! The magic beasts trapped outside were smashing the walls with various attacks, and there were even magical attack. Seeing their means, Navi knew that there were many rank 7 magic beasts mixed in. Her situation is very dangerous right now. Naelin, damn you! She could sense the mana fluctuation from Naelin and knew that he was still in critical condition. So Navi calmed down. This was not the first time she faced danger, and in that world, she could never rely on others for her life. How many selfless people were there in the magic world? Many of them were nothing more than selfish B***stards who will do everything for money and power. For the sake of their own strength, they were willing to do many things that crossed their own moral bottom line. Betrayal and backstabbing was extremely common, so Navi always had to rely on herself to be able to survive. Relying on others will never get her anywhere. This was the brutal truth that was carved into her flesh and bones after years of fighting in that world. Swish! Bang! Navi saw these magic beasts were getting closer and simply mobilized her mana once again. She didn't have lightning, dark, and light elements, but she could still use other elements to fight against these magic beasts without losing her grounds. Her expression remained calm even when several rank 7 magic beasts came forward. In fact, no returnees would ever show fear in front of the magic beasts. They have already seen a far more terrifying scene where they were pushed into the brink of despair, unable to do anything. So just a few rank 7 magic beasts were nothing to them. At most, they would overdraw their life force to gather enough mana to fight back against these magic beasts. The world is round, earth supplemented with water, blooming with vitality and kept the world intact. The sun shined and burned the ground, providing the energy for the metals to change its form and return to earth. Navi chanted. Her voice was light and there was a hint of urgency. But more than anything else, her eyes were flickering with ruthless glint. Roar. Boom. Elemental explosion. Navi smiled. The moment these rank 7 magic beasts managed to break through the walls that Navi had set up, what greeted them was 5 different elements rushing towards them and annihilated them in almost an instant. None of them were able to fight back. Fire element, water element, wind element, metal element, and earth elements. These were the 5 elements that Navi mastered and perfectly controlled. No matter what it is, she could do it, and the 5 elements had long become her limb's extension. Under the combination attack of the 5 elements, not even the rank 7 magic beasts could withstand the terrifying power. Roar! The magic beasts roared unwillingly as their bodies were destroyed into smithereens. With power far greater than nuclear bombs, half of the city around them were destroyed as the magic expanded into a large scale, killing countless magic beasts around them in an instant. Boom! Such a large movements were definitely impossible to hide. But Navi didn't care too much. There were too many rank 7 magic beasts coming closer to her, and she could only used up almost all of her mana to push them back. Cough pant pant. Feeling the weakness on her limbs, Navi snorted and then wiped the blood around her mouth. This move basically consumed a lot of mana and normally speaking, weak magicians couldn't use it. Even Navi would feel the huge burden that her body had to withstand when she used the 5 elements combination magic. Since most magicians have relatively weaker bodies, it was set that the number of combination magic that she could use was limited to 3 elements before she reached rank 7. Otherwise, her body wouldn't be able to withstand the backlash and might end up pushing her to the abyss early. Navi didn't want to die, so she naturally listened to the elder's words and never used too many elements on daily basis. This was done to protect herself. Cough. Damn. Navi looked at the rank 7 magic beasts that was rushing over from the distance and couldn't lift her hand anymore. The only way to save herself would be to burn her soul. But if she did that, Navi knew that there wouldn't be any chance for her to reach the peak anymore. Because once one's soul was severely damaged, there was no way that it could recover again. Navi is unwilling. Even if there was the slightest bit of change, she didn't want to give up. She knew very well that her cousin would not be willing to protect her forever, so she had to fight hard on her own. Bang! As Navi held the rank 7 magic cores from the dead rank 7 magic beasts around her, these rank 7 magic beasts already rushed over. The combination magic was really strong. Countless magic beasts died in that big explosion, and only those who were far away could survive. But there were simply so many magic beasts coming out of the cracks. During the period of time when Nalan and Navi were both running away, the magic beasts were not idle and kept on pouring out of the cracks. Otherwise, it was impossible for the officials to use the nuclear bombs to clear out most of the magic beasts during this period of time. They would not be willing to use such a weapon of mass destruction. But it was because they couldn't see any hope when these rank 7 magic beasts came out and destroyed the bases that they directly used it. Nalan and Navi had seen it. It was not enough. More and more magic beasts came pouring out of the crack as if mocking their efforts. It seemed as if no matter how many times they killed the magic beasts, more will pour out of the crack and kill them all. It was frustrating. Bang! Seeing the rank 7 magic beasts was blocked in front of her, Navi raised her head and saw Nalan coming out. A large shield was erected in front of him. This large shield is his sole treasure, brought from that world and had been used for a long period of time. It was also the magic weapon with the strongest defense in the entire world. Nalan's profession, guardian warrior, was naturally dependent on the fact that he was strong enough. Even though it was called as warrior, Nalan knew that his profession was actually closer to magic warrior because he could still use some mana. But most of the time, he would use the aura. "You look really embarrassed, my cousin," Nalan said in lively tone. There was a sense of relaxation and happiness from his tone. Even when he was about to face countless rank 7 magic beasts that was chasing after them, he didn't seem to be panicked in the slightest bit. Instead, it seemed as if he was reborn. Yes, he had already reached rank 7 again, and Nalan could feel that his entire body seemed to be full of power. For them, the process of advancement to rank 7 was what would be dangerous, but once they have advanced, then they would feel very comfortable and could even use their abilities to the fullest. Any moves would be much stronger when they had advanced to rank 7. For Nalan, coming back to rank 7 was like a dream come true. Ever since he came back to this world, he had to follow his original goal and worked conscientiously as the Guardian Warrior. His main weapon is his shield, and most of the moves he learned were all to defend himself. It was not like he couldn't learn other paths. But by the time he has that qualification, he had already reached rank 4 in that world, and it was too late to switch to other paths. He had also gotten used to train his body to become like a Shide, strong and sturdy, to stand on the front line and protected everyone around him. To be honest, the main reason why Nalan chose to become a Guardian Warrior was because he would not die so easily. Even if he was being beaten up by others, they wouldn't be able to kill him. As long as he continued to increase his defense, wouldn't he eventually reach the point where no matter how people hit, he would not be injured? This is his goal. Because of that, he didn't change his path even after he had the chance to do so and continued his path as the Guardian Warrior. Navi was once worried for him. After all, Nalan's personality was not exactly someone who liked to protect others. He's also a selfish person like her and would care for his life more than everyone else around him. When they were in danger, he would definitely prioritize saving his own life. Navi knew this very well. And Nalan also has great understanding of himself, which was why he also wanted to change his path in the beginning. If he was such a selfless person, he would not have abandoned the base and continued to fight against those rank 7 magic beasts and other magic beasts instead of leaving them to be killed by the magic beasts. He didn't have such overwhelming compassion. And the people whom he truly cared for? He had none. His family members were cold-blooded and had always wanted to return to the main family because of various reasons. Ever since he was young, Nalan had known that he was nothing more than an additional burden in the eyes of his parents and an annoying siblings in the eyes of his siblings and cousins. They didn't like him. Of course, there were also some people whom he didn't have much interaction with. The family behind him was a bit big and there were relatives everywhere. Navi was one of them whose connection was extremely far away and they didn't have much connection here. It was thanks to their faint connection that they could cooperate together. Be it in that world or in this world after their return, the two of them continued their cooperation. "Tisk, you're so happy." Navi snorted, but the corner of her lips curled up into a faint smile. Her cousin is getting stronger, and naturally Navi also felt happy. Because this meant that she would be safer and they could deal with these rank 7 magic beasts on their own. Previously, it was so hard to kill even a single rank 7 magic beasts. But after reaching rank 7, it would be much easier. Of course. Nalan chuckled. Being able to reach rank 7 again. How long he had been waiting for this. After reaching rank 7 in that world and then dying because of countless magic beasts, Nalan had to say that he felt extremely aggrieved. He didn't want to have the strength that he had cultivated for so long to be gone in an instant. The bitterness of practice that he had endured for 4 years disappeared into nothingness. Every single day was filled with nothing but training, but all of his result was gone after his death. He felt annoyed, but what could he do? Being able to live again after dying is already very good, and he gained the chance to build his strength from the very beginning. This time, he didn't have to take the long path but could directly take the shortcut to reach rank 7. The method succeeded, but there were still many annoying things along the way that Nalan had to face. "Deal with these rank 7 magic beasts," Navi said as she stared to collect the magic cores that was dropped from these magic beasts. Even though she had destroyed countless magic beasts' corpses into nothingness, their magic cores remained. could be said that a magic beast's magic cores were extremely durable. Destroying these things were not so easy, but it was good for them, because this meant that they could deal with the magic beasts as they wished without the need to worry that the magic cores would be destroyed because of their violent attacks. After all, it was because of these magic cores that many of them hunted these magic beasts. At least, the main bottom line when dealing with magic beasts were to hope that they could get the magic cores. It was not that common to use magic to the point that the magic beasts' corpses didn't even remain. What Navi did just now was basically overkill. I have the highest defense and not the highest attack, Nayland reminded. Even if he could block these rank 7 magic beasts, dealing with them would not be so easy. Anyway, block them until I can recover my mana, Navi replied as she took these rank 7 magic beasts' magic cores. Nayland rolled his eyes, but he still put Navi into his protection circle, and then the two of them moved to collect the various magic cores that these magic beasts dropped. Even though Nayland still found it difficult to deal with the rank 7 magic beasts, he could still deal with the weaker magic beasts easily. Anyway, only the rank 7 magic beasts were left behind. They were being pushed away by Nayland's shield and then beaten until they were bruised, but it was not so easy to kill them. Anyway, what takes you so long? I noticed the pattern had appeared a long time ago and the mana fluctuation had stabilized, but you only come out at the last moment. Navi is a genius magician even in that world, so she was extremely sensitive to mana fluctuation. When she sensed that something was wrong, Navi felt that Nayland might have encountered some problems. But she has no capabilities to help him. These rank 7 magic beasts were of higher ranks than her, and that destructive move was basically the highest rank of magic spells that Navi could use. It directly dealt with the large number of magic beasts, but it also depleted most of Navi's mana. Based on her condition, she estimated that Nayland had to protect her for a few hours before she could start using her mana again. It was a bit troublesome. There's a message after I advanced to rank 7, Nayland replied honestly. After there are more than half of the returnees reached rank 7, the passage to the other world will slowly be opened in advance. What did you say? A passage to the other world? Navi looked at Nayland in shock and then she asked, Then, can we go back to that world? Even though they have only been living in that world for 4 years, it would be a lie if Navi said that she had no one whom she cared for in that world. There were many friends, comrades, and even family members. But the entire world was destroyed at that moment and nothing was left behind. The magic beast's tide completely destroyed the entire world, leaving nothing. It was very tragic. No. Nayland shook his head and he saw Navi's eyes dimming. Perhaps there'll be a chance to enter other worlds, but you should know very well that controlling time and space is only something that someone who specialized in the law of time and space could do. This is a special kind of magic that not many people learned in their entire life. Because the two of them were cousins and also shared a lot of hardship together, they naturally shared a lot of information. This allowed Nayland to have enough understanding about magic from Navi and Navi understanding many things about aura and warriors from Nayland. Of course, they had no intention of changing their paths. Just enough knowledge so that they would be able to deal with their opponent when they appeared in the future. Then, what kind of passage? Navi asked, trying to calm down. I don't know. Ha! Navi looked at her cousin and was really itching to have her mana recover right at this very moment. She wanted to beat up her cousin's head to see what was in his mind. Didn't he say that the passage to the other world will be opened after there were more than half of the returnee advanced to rank 7? She didn't believe that this earthquake wouldn't be enough to let more people advance to rank 7. Otherwise, those returnees were all useless. Well, I don't understand many things because it mentioned something like the world fusion and mana integration formation and I have zero understanding of these things. Navi, world fusion and mana integration formation? Since Ria and Samuel had already mentioned about this world fusion and mana integration formation in the past, this matter had actually spread among the higher-ups and silently transmitted to other returnees. However, most of them didn't have much understanding about formation and runes. What a joke. Only the Runemaster would spend their time studying about the runes and formation all day long. Even if they were to see the world fusion and mana integration formation right in front of them, they wouldn't be able to recognize it nor understanding what it used for. Ria gave them a general explanation. that this world is merging with a completely different world, which contained a lot of magic beasts. The first earthquake that happened was the result of this world fusion and mana integration formation activation. After that, well, the second earthquake happened and they didn't even know whether it was related to the world fusion and mana integration formation. In any case, this was not a good thing. Their green planet was forced to accept the world fusion and mana integration formations activation, and the mana basically filled every corner of the world. This was one of the reasons why there were so many magic beasts on the green planet. So, can we really go to other worlds? Navi thought about another matter. Not yet. Nalan thought about the message in his mind and frowned. It said that only when the world is ready could it be possible for the passage to be opened in advance. Otherwise, the passage will open automatically after 3 years of our return to this world. Navi also frowned, but her hands didn't stop collecting the magic cores from the ground. Do you want to go? I don't want to. Nalan sneered when he thought about the dangerous world that he had faced before. Even though the thoughts of going to another world and possibly collected a large amount of resources sounded tempting, but he felt that this was definitely a big pit. The world they entered back then was already very dangerous, and it was only because of their background family that they managed to survive. But this time they would directly enter as an outsider. No. Nalan refused such a thing. They would have no support, no backing, no resources, nothing to start with. Everything had to start from scratch again, and there was basically nothing that they could do but to work hard in order to get everything. In the past year to two, they have been working a lot in Continent Y, and it was already difficult enough. Now they have to work and so on. I have already memorized the paths to reach rank 8 and rank 9. Even though the methods to reach rank 10 is fragmented, I believe that I can still advance safely even if I stay in the green planet, Nalan said calmly. Before I reach rank 10, I'm not going to go to other worlds. What a joke. If they needed resources, they could just hunt some rank 7 magic beasts in the cracks and then explore the world over there. There was no need to go to a completely different world that was far more dangerous than the crack world. He believed that all of them had already obtained enough information for them to advance to rank 10. After all, Nalan recognized some of the returnees came from an influential family. How could it be possible for them not to have the inheritance passed down? So even if the knowledge was somewhat fragmented, the clear paths for them to advance to rank 8, 9, and 10 should be given to them clearly. In this way, what they needed the most is nothing more than resources. Resources that will allow them to advance as quickly as possible. Even if resources might be rare, but it was not impossible to obtain enough resources through exploring the cracks and so on. Because of this, Nalan felt that it was unnecessary for them to take big risk to explore a completely different world and possibly dying there. It would be stupid. You're right. Navi also calmed down. She was thinking about the possibility of obtaining some valuable treasures in the different world. But the crack is also a different world, isn't it? She didn't believe they couldn't get any resources from the crack. There was no need to challenge a much more difficult world and simply head towards the relatively easy crack and search for resources there. Advance to rank 7 faster and then we'll enter the crack. It's impossible to rely on the officials again after this incident and they wouldn't trust us. It's better to rely on ourselves, Nalan advised. I know. I'll definitely reach rank 7 as soon as possible, Navi replied with determination. Nothing could stop her from advancing to rank 7 in this life. Nalan looked at Navi's action and nodded in satisfaction. His path made him focus more on defense and it was difficult to kill opponent of the same ranks as his. So he usually rely on Navi a lot. Because Navi is like a glass cannon. Weak physically but her magic attack. In this way, the pair of cousins were able to make their own arrangement. Continent Z, capital city. The officials had already heard about what happened in Continent Y some time ago. After all, their crisis was easily averted with so many returnees working together. Even though Murin's action basically angered them, but they couldn't really do anything with him. Murin escaped to the Sea of the Magic Beasts one way or another. Even if they wanted to look for him, they had to think about how to fight the rank 7 magic beasts around him first. Moreover, it was estimated that Murin would reach rank 7 soon enough. The pattern in the sky seemed to be telling them that these returnees had reached the peak of their original strength. The officials were not stupid. If they couldn't get the information from one returnee, then they would approach the second returnee and dug various information from them. Some specific information was indeed only known to one returnee, but if they were only asking about some general information, there was no problem in asking other returnees about it. One of them was the fact that most of these returnees used to be rank 7 before they came back to this world after their deaths. So reaching rank 7 seemed to be something that would definitely happen for these returnees, and it was nothing special. The officials were already prepared. The moment these patterns appeared one by one in the sky, they understood that these returnees should have reached the peak of their previous strength and will slowly improve on their own. As for whether they knew the path forward, these returnees never said anything. For this matter, they somehow managed to have a tacit understanding not to say anything about the paths above rank 7. Continent Y has already started using the nuclear bombs. Various bases have been destroyed along with countless magic beasts, an official said with heavy tone. If their returnees were like those 3 returnees in Continent Y, there was no doubt that their fate would not be any better than Continent Y. It was only because their returnees were willing to fight and sealed the cracks that they were able to sit here calmly and discussed about this matter instead of worrying about whether they should abandon these bases and use the nuclear weapon like Continent Y. Continent X is also considering to use the nuclear weapon, but they have decided not to, and Continent W is urging us to return Ruth as soon as possible. The other official continued with a sigh. Well, the 4 continents were still busy fighting covertly. But the appearance of the second earthquake and countless rank 7 magic beasts out there did make them realize that this was indeed not the time for them to fight. We have no time to deal with Continent Y's request for help. While it's true that leaving things be might be bad for the overall situation of the green planet, but Continent Y is too far away. The official with higher power shook his head. He didn't want to send any of their returnees to Continent Y and possibly have to risk their lives, because the action of the returnees from Continent Y had already caused many rank 7 magic beasts to come out of the cracks. No one tried to block them, and at this moment, sending any of these returnees were the same as sending them to their death. Who knows how many rank 7 magic beasts would greet them the moment they arrived in Continent Y. Anyway, the official didn't want any returnee from Continent Z to face these things. Let's discuss the cracks first. The military will first focus on the crack under the Martial Arts Association and will work together with them to create a military base around the crack. While the crack is a potential danger, it can also provide with a lot of opportunities. Previously, they have been trying to set up bases around the cracks for easier exploration. But the problem was that there were simply too many cracks for them to pay attention to, and they didn't have enough manpower if they have to focus on one of the cracks. So they could only station some military to explore the crack. But now that there were only 12 cracks all over the world and 5 of them were in Continent Z, they could start to implement this matter. 2 cracks were sealed by Ria, 1 crack was taken care by Dina, 1 crack was guarded by Peter and the Martial Arts Association, while the last one was taken by the Magic Association. The Magic Association had already promised to split the resources they obtained from the crack. And the officials didn't have such a good impression for the Magic Association for several reasons. One of them was naturally because of their strong persistence in trying to obtain the crack and the rights to explore it. It was inexplicable. This made them certain that the cracks might be a bit different from the previous cracks that appeared all over the world. Even though they hadn't explored it yet, they already had this premonition. Also, Ria and Samuel raised a very important matter. There are also other rank 7 magic beasts that have grown up on Continent Z's land and they're trying to deal with them, the official said with a solemn expression. I want to send more military to try exploring the borders. The bases further away are more scattered, and it wouldn't do us any good to let these magic beasts to grow up. In this way, the officials were busy formulating countless plans. They chose to ignore Murin's action for the time being, but it was obvious that they would not consider him if there was any benefit either. As for Ria and Samuel, even though one of them was a real black-hearted businessman that had caused them heart attack for a long time, these 2 were considered good children in their eyes. At least, they were good enough to be willing to help when it was necessary. As for the fact that they were being taken advantage of in daily basis, They chose to turn a blind eyes to it. When they come back, let's give them a reward. Rhea and Samuel sighed. At this moment, Rhea and Samuel didn't know anything because they were busy following those corpse-eater flying magic beasts and trying to find their nest. If they were to know what the officials were thinking, they might feel that it was a bit strange, because they didn't do it for any reward. No, it was more like that these corpse-eater flying magic beasts were already a big enough reward for them. After all, the main reason why Rhea and Samuel were willing to hunt down the corpse-eater flying magic beasts were because of the corpse-eater flying magic beast's blood that was useful for Rhea. Samuel? He just wanted to accompany his girlfriend and didn't really need the corpse-eater flying magic beast's blood. The body couldn't be eaten, so he would just take some of them and handed them to the researchers after coming back to City A base later. He was sure that these researchers would be very happy to have more research materials. It's a good thing that the satellites are still working normally, Rhea muttered as she looked at the map in Samuel's phone. The information was transmitted directly to his phone, and Rhea was too lazy to open hers. So she simply leaned against Samuel's body and looked at the map that he was showing. There was also another navigation handed over to the pilot. The researchers have made suitable communication devices just in case, and it's working well, Samuel replied calmly. He had known about these things even before the world changed, but his father told him that the higher-ups had no intention to promote it in the binging, because it was too expensive. But after the world changed, they had no other choice but to use it directly in order to maintain the communication line all over the world. Otherwise, what awaited them would be nothing more than a dark world where they couldn't even communicate with others properly. At that time, the large areas of Continent Z might be occupied by countless magic beasts without them knowing. If it was not the magic beasts, other people from other continents could also make a move and possibly take advantage of the situation. Either way, they couldn't accept it happening. Rhea nodded. She didn't understand these things either, but it was good that they could use it to follow the traces of those corpse-eater flying magic beasts. After all, neither Rhea or Samuel were that good in terms of tracking flying magic beast. We're near. Samuel looked outside and his expression turned solemn. The helicopter was extremely fast, allowing them to traverse several kilometers in a matter of minutes. But when he finally saw the situation outside, Samuel still felt that it would be better not to take a look. It was ruins and magic beasts, all over the place. All Samuel could see was nothing more than devastated ruins that had been trampled over and over again by these corpse-eater flying magic beasts. The situation was far from good. This place is an empty zone without any bases, Rhea suddenly said as she looked at the map in front of her. Her expression was not very good. Continent Z is too vast, and some areas without supervision is simply the best breeding grounds for these magic beasts. Because the magic beasts didn't have to compete with humans and could directly use the place as their breeding grounds, allowing their development to continue without being hindered in the slightest bit. The two earthquake had changed the green planet too much. Seeing this scene, Rhea felt inexplicably sad. So many corpse-eater flying magic beasts could be found here, meaning that there was definitely a lot of corpses in this area. Be it humans or even magic beasts, Rhea didn't know, but there had to be a lot of deaths in the past. Otherwise, these corpse-eater flying magic beasts would not have chosen this place for them to develop. Then I'll deal with these corpse-eater flying magic beasts first. Rhea looked at these corpse-eater flying magic beasts and only wanted to go down and deal with them first. Aside from wanting their blood, Rhea also didn't want these corpse-eater flying magic beasts to grow up too quickly and possibly dominate the green planet's territory, especially if it was on the continent Z. I know you can fly, but I don't think it's a good idea to waste your mana. Samuel pointed at the protective rune circle around Rhea. He didn't know how Rhea modified it, but even if he were to stand beside Rhea, the protective rune circle will not attack him. Samuel had long heard that modifying an existing formation was not that easy. But for Rhea, Samuel felt that no formation could pose any problem for her to modify it as she wishes. She's freely expressing her imagination through these formations. Ah, right? Rhea pursed her lips. She had already recovered most of her mana, but controlling the protective rune circle to bring her flying around would still consume more mana. If she wanted to deal with these corpse-eater flying magic beasts, it would be better for her not to waste her mana unnecessarily. Let's stop on top of a building and then we'll start hunting. Samuel pointed at a relatively intact building in the distance. While it was not that high, but the higher grounds could still give them some advantage in the battle. Rhea calculated the few runes in her mind and nodded in agreement. Do you want to call for backup? The pilot received Samuel's order and asked as he directed the helicopter to the specific position. Unnecessary. The two of them were enough to deal with these corpse-eater flying magic beasts this time. Samuel thought for a moment and then said, if anything, let Peter arrange for the Martial Arts Association to explore more areas to clean up the magic beasts. From what he knew, Peter has been exploring various areas to deal with countless magic beasts in the past year. It was also because of this that Peter didn't stay in City J base after the magic beasts died but disappeared far away. Well, he was busy fighting with various magic beasts. Otherwise, these corpse-eater flying magic beasts wouldn't have the chance to grow up so rapidly and expand wildly. Yes, the pilot could only agree and planned on contacting the higher-ups after they come down. Swish! The helicopter moved quickly and Rhea calculated the number of these corpse-eater flying magic beasts outside. She glanced at Samuel and asked, if I were to destroy the entire city, the official will not blame me, right? I thought that you want to preserve these corpse-eater flying magic beasts' bodies. Samuel arched his eyebrows. Yes, I will preserve them, so the method I used will be a bit different. Samuel looked at Rhea's expression and then nodded. I'll talk to them even if they wanted to talk with you. There's no human being living in this area that you need to concern yourself about. He had already asked about this matter to the officials, wondering if there were any human beings staying behind. Though Samuel actually highly doubted that there could be anyone living among the corpse-eater flying magic beasts in this area. But he still asked for the officials to confirm it. Because Samuel knew that when he started to fight, he would not have any time to care about whether there were any human beings or not. Great. Then this city is handed over to me and the next city is handed over to you, Rhea said without hesitation. Such a clear division? There are so many corpse-eater flying magic beasts that they span the areas close to 2 cities. As a rank 7, it should not be a problem for you to destroy an entire city, Rhea said without hesitation. Samuel looked at Rhea quietly and then said, you have to remember that not all profession is capable of doing something like this. He could already see the soldier was frozen in fear when he heard their conversation. A city spanned dozens of kilometers away, and for them to destroy it in an instant, it was definitely not something that most people wanted to see. When rank 6 magicians were desperate, they were actually also capable of destroying half of a city, though. But the price they had to pay was a bit too big. For those who had reached rank 7, it was not impossible to destroy an entire city on their own. But the price was not small. They had to use up their entire mana. And some newly advanced magician and magic warriors didn't even have the capability to destroy the entire city. But you can, right? Rhea tilted her head in confusion. With Samuel's strength, she didn't believe that he wouldn't be able to destroy an entire city. It should have been pretty easy since he was really capable. Well, it was more like, Rhea didn't believe that these returnees didn't have the capability to destroy an entire city after reaching rank 7. Because that message seemed to be telling her that the people chosen to go to the magic world were specifically selected. And each of them had great potential and ability, allowing them to reach rank 7 in just 4 years. Rhea knew very well that people without enough ability or talent or luck would never be able to achieve this result. So she was somewhat confident. Well, confident in all of the returnees' abilities. Well, yes. Samuel looked at Rhea helplessly and then patted her hand. Let's go out and deal with these corpse-eater flying magic beasts. There was no need for them to flaunt their real fighting capabilities. He felt somewhat embarrassed. After all, there were many other geniuses who were much better than them in that world at that time. Otherwise, there would not be such a grand battle that involved many youths. Okay. Rhea jumped out and saw the large number of corpse-eater flying magic beasts around. Screech! These corpse-eater flying magic beasts seemed to realize their existence and rushed over. Swish! Rhea injected mana to her protective rune circle and expanded its size, completely covering up Samuel and also the helicopter and the pilot behind her within the outer layer. Of course, there was still an inner layer around Rhea's body. Samuel didn't move from his position and stood calmly beside Rhea. He believed in her ability. Water. Snow. Rhea muttered in a low voice and her hands started to draw countless runes both on the left and right side. She didn't seem to be paying attention to other things and simply supplied her mana. But beside her, Samuel sensed the temperature was dropping. He could guess that Rhea should be using the water and ice element. Ice element. Samuel's eyes flickered and he glanced at the pilot who was still sitting in the helicopter stiffly. Well, at least with the pilot's behavior, he would not be implicated by Rhea's magic. So he moved his eyes away and simply looked in Rhea's direction. She was completely focused, drawing the runes from both left and right hands, a completely different runes yet her hands never stopped. It seemed as if she knew them by heart. Screech! Countless corpse-eater flying magic beasts were trying to forcefully break in, but the protective rune circle blocked their paths. Those that wanted to attack was directly killed in the counterattack from Rhea. It was such a perfect defense. Rhea was completely focused in drawing the runes and her speed was extremely fast. In just a few seconds, Samuel could see blue-colored runes drawn in front of Rhea, and then he heard her spoke out, "Icy snow frozen wind." Swoosh! The next moment, Samuel sensed the violent mana fluctuation followed by the strong wind spreading out from Rhea's direction. He and the areas under the protective rune circle was completely protected, but the areas outside were directly attacked in such a brutal way. Cold wind blew and these corpse-eater flying magic beasts didn't even have time to scream before their entire body was frozen into ice sculpture. The grounds were covered in snow and frost, turning the previously devastating ruins into a beautiful ice world. All in a few seconds. It's beautiful, isn't it? Rhea turned her head and looked at Samuel with a bright smile on her face. Her eyes were sparkling like a child who was showing off her favorite toys to her friend. Samuel looked at the scenery around him and hummed in a low voice. Rhea's magic could be extremely beautiful. Even though most people might be afraid of what Rhea might do when she was angry, but Samuel felt that the girl in front of her is really beautiful. She's just like an excited child. But this energetic sight made his mood better too. So Samuel has a smile on his face and hummed. It's very beautiful. Rhea blinked her eyes, not realizing that Samuel was basically staring on her face directly instead of looking at the scenes out there. I'm going to collect these corpse-eater flying magic beasts. Samuel saw Rhea's energetic appearance and smiled faintly. I'll help you. Yeah. Only the pilot was left behind, looking at the extreme scene around him. The entire ruined city was covered in ice. For the first time, he understood why Rhea and Samuel seemed to be taking the phrase destroying an entire city so lightly. Because when they reached rank 7, this was something that they could do. It was no wonder that rank 7 corpse-eater flying magic beasts were also so hard to deal with. If it was not for Rhea and Samuel's cooperation before, they might have long died in advance. But such a powerful magic skills. Your focus is on whether it's beautiful? The pilot's lips twitched. He had the feeling that as long as he was still Samuel and Rhea's pilots, he would be forced to eat a lot of dog food. Being a single dog is really miserable. City A base, Amelia and Arnold's side. While Rhea and Samuel were busy with their attempts to clean up these corpse-eater flying magic beasts, the others didn't know much about it. After all, dealing with the rank 7 magic beasts that came out of the cracks were their main priority. Since both Rhea and Samuel hadn't returned, they simply guessed that these two were busy with rank 7 magic beasts out there. It was not known how the situation in the crack is. But as long as there were no rank 7 magic beasts coming to City A base, it was actually a good thing. Mr. Jones was not in a hurry and busy with various meeting all days, so Amelia was not worried. She even took her time to relax and play with Arnold. Some people explored the areas around City A base, trying to find some magic beasts to hunt and kill. They felt that it was necessary for them to go out and try their luck. There were not many magic beasts before because the people in City A base were too capable. They cleared out the areas, making it extremely safe. It was good for the ordinary people, but those who wanted to practice will have to travel further distance if they wanted to practice. Now that there were more magic beasts, they decided that they should go and fight against these magic beasts. Anyway, if they could hunt the magic beasts, they would be able to get resources. In the past, the best way for them to get resources would be to enter the crack. But who would dare to enter the crack? They were afraid that they would die. Some of the braver ones followed the military into the crack to hunt some magic beasts, even if they were only picking up the scraps, but it was still much better than staying outside where it was so clean. Unfortunately, this condition only applied to City A base. Other city bases were not so lucky. They could indeed get resources more easily, but at the same time, they had to risk their lives more than the people in City A base. It's so empty. Amelia looked at the street in front of her with blank look. She thought that she could rest and enjoy some time together with Arnold. But seeing the somewhat empty city, she felt a bit restless. Because this meant that there were many people who were busy to hunt magic beasts, but she was instead staying here. Amelia felt a bit guilty. There's no need to compete with them. Arnold shook his head. The military and the returnees are doing a good job in protecting City A base, but other people also need to grow. Give them this chance and I'm sure that they'll be happier. Amelia heard Arnold's words and nodded somewhat absent-mindedly. She just felt that walking around in this situation didn't seem to be very pleasant. But if she was asked to go out and hunt magic beasts, Amelia also didn't want it. If you don't want to go shopping, how about if we visit your brother? Arnold asked. The brother he meant this time was naturally Amelia's younger brother, Sean, who was busy in the hospital. He didn't know what that young man was thinking to run to the hospital all day long. Oh, he might be there because he wanted to spend his time together with his girlfriend. There was nothing wrong with this, though. No need. Amelia rolled her eyes. Who would want to find Sean? That brat has been showing off his love life to her all the time, making her itching to beat him up. The two of them had nearly demolished their living room last night, and her mother's scolding was still fresh in her mind. She didn't want to make trouble and got scolded for the second time. Once is enough. All right, then we'll just walk around and see if they need some help, Arnold said dotingly. Even if their elements were not suitable for construction, it was not like they couldn't help at all. Yes, Dot. At this time, a voice called from the side. Arnold? Is that you? Amelia heard someone calling Arnold and turned her head, looking towards the gate with some curiosity. She saw a group of people entering City A base from the gate that they had passed by, and each of these people were wearing full equipment. They didn't look like soldiers, but more like mercenaries. Their dresses and attitude was more casual. Yet there was a hint of danger that Amelia could feel when she saw them. Arnold looked at the group of people in surprise. Nicholas, so you're in City A base. The man at the front nodded with a grin. He had similar appearance to Arnold, but he seemed to haven't been taking care of his appearance. His hair was messy and his beard was barely trimmed. But even this appearance couldn't hide the similarities between the two people's countenance, especially their eyes. Arnold looked at the other party silently, took a step forward, and punched him on the stomach. Bang! Cough. Nicholas! The other people were stunned when they saw this and were about to attack, but Nicholas raised his hand to stop them from making a move. He looked at his brother speechlessly and said, Is this how you greet your brother after not seeing each other for years? You disappeared for a long time and didn't even contact me. How do you think I should greet you? Arnold replied in a cold tone, and then he patted Nicholas's back. I forgot. Forgot or you can't? Nicholas shrugged, not refuting this matter in the slightest bit. He didn't have the intention of contacting Arnold again after they separated on that border, because he knew that it wouldn't be easy for his brother to regain an ordinary life again. They have been under their father or mother's debt for so many years, and working hard as mercenaries could be said to be their only way out. Arnold was finally able to leave the border, and Nicholas didn't want to keep reminding his brother about the miserable days of the past again. Besides, he could take care of himself and didn't need other people's help. So he chose to stop contacting his brother and see how things were going on. Later on, he seemed to have forgotten about it. Nicholas didn't want to bother his brother with his own affair. Before he could even settle his own problem, the earthquake happened, and then these magic beasts appearing turning the entire world upside down. Thankfully, he still have more than enough supplies to protect himself, but he didn't know how the outside world is. He could only slowly making his way to various bases one by one. His team members chose to follow him just because he's their leader, and they didn't really have any other place to go. Many of them were people who didn't have any family members anymore, or they were in similar situation like Nicholas and Arnold, whose family members have long abandoned them. While other mercenaries might have their own family members, Nicholas basically gathered people who were desperate and have nowhere to go. They were not afraid of anything. What they wanted was simply a chance to live a better life, a chance that was given to them when they followed him on the border. With these magic beasts around, it was not so easy to find a safe place. So they simply moved from one base to another, trying to make a living, or simply spent their time to wander around and figure out the situation outside. Forget it. Arnold shook his head. He couldn't control his brother, and he had no intention to do so either. The two of them have their own lives, a completely different lives that might not even cross path with each other. Are you going to find a place to live? That's the plan. Nicholas nodded and then shrugged. But this place is too safe. For mercenaries like them, it was not a good idea to find a place that was too secure and safe, because their main capability wouldn't be of much use here, and they wouldn't feel comfortable in the long run. How could he possibly give up on the dangerous style of life that he had worked on for such a long time? He couldn't, and he also didn't want to. It's a good thing for the base to be saved for ordinary people, Arnold replied, and then asked, "Have you been doing well?" "I'm doing very well right now." Nicholas glanced at Amelia, who was standing close to Arnold, and added in teasing tone, "And I can see that you're also doing very well, brother." Back on the border, he couldn't really imagine his brother starting a relationship with others because they were living a rather desperate life. He didn't even think that it would be possible for them to settle down when they were basically betting their lives every single day. Nicholas himself thought that he would live this kind of life forever. But his brother looked so happy. Arnold had a gentle expression, and his edge seemed to have been smoothed out. Even though Nicola was not entirely sure that his brother had completely changed, but he knew that this was a good thing for the other party. There was no need for him to worry about his brother's future anymore and worry that his brother would be alone. In fact, it might be his brother's turn to worry about him. "This is your sister-in-law, Amelia Melissa Jones." "Amelia, this is my brother Nicholas Ramsey." "Hello, sister-in-law." Nicholas chuckled. "Well, I still have to trade some things. Even though this base is not the best place for me to stay, it's very prosperous and it's easy to get everything I need." "Everything he need? Do you want some space storage scroll?" Arnold suddenly asked. If there was anything that was hard to obtain from other bases but could be easily found in City A base, it would be space storage scrolls. "Yes. How do you know?" Nicholas looked genuinely surprised. Space storage scrolls have become extremely common in the past few months. The main reason was because Ria had already spread the knowledge to make the space storage scrolls to many people, allowing them to make it as long as they have enough skills. Since there were many other Runemasters who have already started practicing, the Rat 1 space storage scroll could be said to have become extremely popular. Many people could easily buy it. Naturally, Ria didn't bother to make them herself, and there were many other lower-ranked Runemasters who made it. Even Ruben could easily make one. This has become a common equipment for most people, especially those who wanted to hunt magic beasts. After all, it was very easy for them to carry things if they had a space storage scroll. You can actually buy it from a few other bases around here, but since you used to come from the border, you might find it in short supply there, Arnold replied with a shrug. And the best product in City A base is only space storage scroll and grains. Yes, grains. Thanks to the formation that Ria made along with their own people's hard work, the grains had been harvested twice, and the large amount of food was more than enough to make Mr. Jones laugh. If it was not because of the magic beasts problem, Mr. Jones would not have so much headache in City A base lately. After all, the most pressing matter, the problem of food, has been solved to a certain degree. He didn't have to worry about this matter. The magic beasts were mostly cleaned up in this area with the cooperation of the military and the others. But the second earthquake just caused them to face more magic beasts. Thankfully, it seemed that they wouldn't have to face those rank 7 magic beasts anytime soon. The premise is that the returnees were able to guard the crack well. It has been some time, but neither Ria or Samuel had returned yet. I heard that the best space storage scroll is produced in City A base. Nicholas probed. Arnold shook his head. The quality is guaranteed to be good or the officials will never agree to sell them in the first place. But it's also true that the rank of the person who made the space storage scroll is higher in City A base. I can't tell you more, so you can stop trying to dig information from me. Nicholas. Even if Nicholas is his brother, Arnold couldn't tell the confidential matters in City A base to the other party. After all, these were important things that Arnold had sworn not to leak out. All right. I can see that you have important position in this city, Arnold. If you want to settle down, I can help. No, I won't trouble you with this little thing. For Nicholas, staying in City A base was not very good. The two brothers didn't talk with each other for long because they didn't have much to talk about. Even though they hadn't seen each other for a while, after confirming that the other party was still alive, then everything is good. So after talking about their recent situation and their future plan, the two siblings went on their separate ways. Amelia looked at Nicholas's departing back and said, I thought that you'll want to ask him about those people from City I base. She had completely forgotten their names, but she knew that there were some people who knew about Nicholas and Arnold in City I base when they were staying there for a while. There's no need. Arnold shook his head. He's already a warrior and his rank is by no means low. If the remnants of those gangs try to find him, they're the one who will suffer in the end. This was something that he noticed when he punched Nicholas just now. The muscle's density and the explosive power beneath Nicholas's seemingly harmless appearance told Arnold that Nicholas has been working hard in the past year or two. He also has good talent and it seemed that he has his own goal to work so hard. Those people were nothing more than small figures that Arnold couldn't remember clearly either. While he would not underestimate his opponents, he wanted to trust his brother more. Since his brother didn't seem to have any problem and had become strong, Arnold didn't think it was necessary to mention these things. You don't plan to remind him? He knows that there are a lot of people targeting him, Arnold said calmly. That's why he's going to the capital city. Ha! Amelia was confused. Seeing the woman's look, Arnold felt that Amelia was really cute. She might be the pampered young miss of the Jones family, and Arnold always felt that it would not matter even if she stayed like that for the rest of her life. Because her arrogant and willful behavior actually suited him very much. He wanted to see her smile all the time in front of him. The capital city is filled with many powerful people and the laws are also much stricter. If he stays there, he should be able to do well, Arnold explained. Amelia tilted her head, not understanding about this matter. Forget it. Let's go find some interesting things to buy in the market. There was naturally a market in City A base. Though it was nothing more than rows of stalls that the people rented to sell their belongings. When there was something interesting, Amelia would not hesitate to buy it. I didn't expect that there are still some jades here. Amelia looked at the jade bracelet in her emotionality. Ria needed these, so Amelia decided to just trade some things with this jade. After all, their value has been lowered again and again many times. What a stupid, pampered woman. A curse came from the side while Amelia was still admiring the bracelet.